Welcome back. In this video, we are going to be calculating for depreciation of an asset using the double declining balance method in C++. As usual, the algorithm first and then the code. So, let's simplify. In addition to the methods described in questions 35 and 36 for calculating depreciation, one can also use the double declining balance method. If the amount is the value of the asset in years is the number of years the asset is to be depreciated, then 2 over years times the undepreciated amount is depreciated every year. Since only a fraction of the undepreciated amount is depreciated, the entire amount will never be depreciated fully. One way of solving this problem is therefore to switch over to the straight line method. You are required to devise a computer solution that accepts as input amount, years, and switch the year in which to switch to the straight line method, and then display the depreciation and the outstanding amount for the different years to the algorithm. So we are going to take the amount from the year. So we say input amount, and then the years as well. So input years, and then the year to switch. So we say input switch to straight line method. Now we're going to draw a table which will display which has three columns. That is the years, the amount of depreciation, and then the balance outstanding. That's the captions. So we print them out. Then we say balance outstanding equals the amount. As we go along, I'll explain why this is. So we see we set a for loop that is going to run from I equals 1 to years, step 1. So we are going to say that if I is less than the user's input for switch, if it is less than that, then you should use the double declining balance method. That is, the amount depreciated from the question for the double declining balance method is 2 over years times the undepreciated amount. So we say amount depreciated plus equals 2 over years times the balance outstanding. Now the balance outstanding is the undepreciated amount. Remember, I set balance outstanding to the amount because the amount has not been depreciated yet. Then at that particular moment, it is equal to the balance outstanding. But the moment it gets to depreciate, the balance outstanding starts to reduce. Take an example. If I borrow 5 Ghana cedis from you and I have not started paying yet, then it means that the amount I owe you is equal to the amount I borrowed from you at that moment. But the moment I start paying, then the amount I'm supposed to pay to you starts to reduce, or the amount I owe you starts to reduce until it gets to zero. It's the same thing here. The amount that has not depreciated, because the original amount has not depreciated yet, the amount that is undepreciated is equal to balance outstanding at this particular moment. So we say the amount depreciated plus equals 2 over years times the balance outstanding. Now we are going to take the amount that depreciated from the original amount to give us the new balance outstanding. Now, the reason why I use plus equals over here is that the amount that gets depreciated is going to depreciate every year, and we'll be subtracting it from the original value of the asset to get the remaining of the asset that is left, which is the balance outstanding. So it depreciates, then we take it from the amount, and we know how much of the asset is left. It depreciates, we take it from the amount, we know how much of the asset is left. So we are using the plus to cumulatively take it and keep subtracting it until the balance outstanding becomes zero. So we are going to use this formula for that. But in case the I gets to the user's value for switch, we say else, then you should use the straight line method we did in the previous question. So we are using that formula, which is the amount depreciated plus equals the amount divided by the year. So you have the formula here, the value divided by the years every year. So amount divided by years. And then we take the amount depreciated from the amount to get the remaining balance. Then we end if. Then we print I, which will be under the years column, and then the amount depreciated under the amount of depreciation column, and the balance outstanding under the balance of outstanding column. Then after you print these, we say you should move to the next line and then print for the next year. So you should calculate for the next year and then print that year's amount of depreciation, amount balance outstanding, move to the next line, and then keep printing them until we get to the final year. Then we say N4. So by the time it gets to the final year, we end the 4. And then we have gotten all our values from the first year to the last year. Let's convert this to code in C++. So in the int main function, I declared my doubles and then my integer. And then I initialize amount depreciated to be 0. Then I ask the user to input the values for amounts, that is the value of the assets, and in the years of depreciation, and then when to switch. Then also I printed out the table with three columns, the year, depreciation, and then the amounts, the outstanding amounts. The backlash T means you should tap, you should move. The cursor should move, and then the backlash N means you should move to the next line. So on the next line, now I set the balance outstanding to be equal to the amount because it has not depreciated yet. Then I set the for loop, which is going to compute for the balance outstanding and the amount depreciated depending on the switch of the user when the user wants to switch between the two formulas. Well, that is the straight line formula and the double declining balance formula. So the first one is for the double declining and the second one is for the straight line. Then after that, after each year, you should print out the I, tap tap, leave two spaces, print the amount, tap tap, leave two spaces, and balance outstanding, print the balance outstanding, and then move to the next line, and then print for the next year when I becomes 2. When I becomes 2, you should keep printing them in a tabular form. And then from there, I end my code, the system pause, and then return 0 by custom. Let's really see how this code runs. So I enter the value of the asset 15. I enter the years of depreciation to be 5. And I enter the year to switch. I say 6. You know there are only 5 years, right? But I entered 6, meaning I don't want to use the other formula. I want to use the double declining method. If you remember from the question, you know that the double declining method, the amount to depreciate never completely depreciates. It never depreciates totally. So you can see that the outstanding amount is 1.16. There is still some left after the 5th year. So that is one problem with the double declining method. So let's now use only the straight line method and see. When we use the straight line method, you can see that the amount actually depreciates fully. Now let's switch between the two and see whether it actually depreciates. Now I say enter the year to switch. I say I switch at 4. So by the 4th year I switch, and you can see that by the 5th year it actually depreciates fully, it becomes negative, meaning it is 0. So when you switch now, the value of the assets actually depreciates fully. Alright friends, we have tried the two of them, the double declining balance, and realized that it could not depreciate fully. We tried the straight line and realized that it depreciates fully. Then we switched, which was able to solve it and then make sure that it switched, it's depreciated fully. So that's for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Till then, a party.